What's up everyone? In the words of Razorfist, he couldn't have said it better himself.
I've intended to do something in this vein quite literally since the birth of my channel.
And he is absolutely correct. Since the birth of my channel, I've been wanting to do something like this for ages, but I've never got around to it. But today is the day. Today is the day we go through my top 5 Iron Maiden albums. Now, if anyone knows me, I've said this before, if anyone knows me, they know that I'm one of the most hardcore Iron Maiden fans out there, ranging. Been a fan since, I don't know, for over 10 years now. They were the band that did heavy metal for me. They were they were my gateway band, you could say. They showed me what metal could do, and everything that they did, I wanted to do. So I thought it'd only be fitting for me to sit down with you and talk about my top 5 favorite albums, going from top 5 to the least favorite to number 1 being the favorite. Let's go. I swear that intro had more rambling in it than a Sunday mass. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Starting at number 5, we come up with Iron Maiden's Somewhere in Time. Now, this one's pretty cool. This one has a significant attachment to me. I have a personal connection with this album, purely because it was not the first album I ever heard, nothing like that. This one's just purely because it reminds me of the first time I saw Maiden live. I was walking around Christchurch in New Zealand, and weirdly enough, obviously Maiden were in town, so they suddenly got in all their albums and had a whole shelf, of all of them. And this was just one that I did not have. I tried to buy them in order, and so this was the next one that I was due to buy. So when I listen to this, I get thrown back into the excitement of what I saw on stage with them playing live back on the Somewhere Back in Time World Tour, which was probably the greatest show I've ever seen live. Somewhere in Time came out in 1986, and this one has like the synthy side of it. They'd done the heavy metal thing by then. They had toured the world with the World Slavery Tour, so they just came back and obviously wanted to try something different. You have such classic tracks on here, like Wasted Years is brilliant. Stranger in a Strange Land is awesome. Those are the singles off the album. See, Heaven Can Wait as well. They tend to play that live these days. And then there's a couple of what I call, gems, ones that I really get into, like the intro track, Caught Somewhere in Time, I think is really fun. And then what I call the epic of the album is track 8, Alexander the Great, which is cool. Has this awesome, clean intro, and then just gets heavy. There's a lot of guitar work on that, and a brilliant story of a true historical figure. So, my number 5th album is Somewhere in Time. Now, this will throw a lot of you off. Number 4 is probably one that's going to shock a lot of you because of the reputation it has, and just, it's obviously so different from everything else. Number 4 is The X Factor, track 10, Blaze Bayley's first album. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Shoot me if you think I'm wrong. However, once again, Maiden fan, listen to the entire catalog, right? There is something magical about this album. I'm not even kidding. Yes, it's not The Trooper. It's not Number of the Beast. It's not even Somewhere in Time. It's not Bruce. Bruce Dickinson's not on this album, but it has some of the most amazingly constructed songs on it. This is Steve Harris's favorite album. He told me it reflects how he was emotionally feeling during the time when this was being written, because he was going through his divorce, so he wasn't in a great place, and it definitely shows on this album. You have the epic 11-minute track to start off the album, Sign of the Cross, which is what led me to buy this album in the first place. And then you have Man on the Edge, which is the single, and probably one of the more weaker songs on this side, and I tend to skip that one. But there are other great ones, like Fortunes of War is a really good song. Like, the intro verse thing, it's very slow. This whole album is slow, but it's so slow and low, and there's a lot of war references on here, about struggle and whatnot. So you have Fortunes of War, Look for the Truth is quite fun, The Aftermath, which is about the aftermath of war, and then Judgment of Heaven, another great one. Blood on the World's Hands, that's a very dark song. But then a weird one that I get into is the last track, The Unbeliever. It's got this funky, clean intro, and it's just, lyrically, it's fun. Maybe I just find it fun because it's easier for me to sing. It's obviously at a lower register, and so Sign of the Cross is a fantastic song. If you don't like that song, then just give it a go, okay? Try It is a mission to get through. It's 70 minutes long, but I think it's a great listen. It really is. We're getting into the close top now. Number 3. This is another one of the later after 2000 era, what I call the 2000 era. CD number 3 for me, Iron Maiden's number 3rd top CD for me, is Dance of Death. Believe it or not. Yeah. Now again, this album has another special touch for me, simply because I found the live performance, Death on the Road. A friend gave it to me. And at that time, there were a lot of songs on there that I didn't know, because I was still early into listening to Maiden. At that point, I didn't even know, because I knew all of Maiden's older stuff, because that was what my parents had. So I had no idea that Maiden had 3 guitar players. So that really threw me off. But when I heard this track, title track, Dance of Death itself, I was like, this is really cool. So that led me to want to get this album. And there are other great songs on here. Dance of Death itself is amazing. Passchendaele is a brilliant song, one of the greatest war ballads I've ever heard. And then, excuse me, and then you have some other ones. No More Lies is a bit repetitive and can kind of drive me out the wall sometimes, just because it's that high registered of Bruce's voice. But then it has something, that they don't really do much for you. Journeyman, acoustic, lovely 7-minute acoustic way to end the album. It's very cool. Again, it's quite orchestrally themed, like, it's got movements and all that stuff in it. The guitar work on it is amazing. Now that they have 3 of them, they have to make room for all of them, but they don't fail. They all do their part extremely well. They've all taken turns to, have a chance at writing. Even Nico, the drummer, wrote. This is an album that has the first song Nico ever wrote. 20 years in the band, he finally wrote a song. Number 3, Dance of Death. Check it out. Number 2 is the first Iron Maiden album I ever owned as a Christmas present. But of course, what's an Iron Maiden list without the classic, the brilliant, the needed, the Number of the Beast, released in 1982, 8 tracks long, 9 tracks rather, sorry. And this album, I don't need to talk about this album because everybody knows, why this album's number 2. The title track, Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Hallowed Be Thy Name. Absolute classics, every Maiden show ever is completed with all 3 of those. But then there are also some other golden gems on here that don't get enough credit, like 22 Acacia Avenue, the sequel to Charlotte the Harlot off the first album. That's a really fun song. It's not funky, but it's catchy. It's like that catchy metal, which I love. I love the title. I love the intro track, Invaders. It's absolutely brilliant. It's got the funky. It's got an awesome. You can hear the bass in it. It's just so predominant, and it's just like wow. And then The Prisoner's awesome as well. It's got that awesome drum intro of Clive Burr. And then the guitars come in, it's like one of the heaviest riffs you've ever heard. It's just so good. And then the weaker ones, Gangland and Total Eclipse, I don't really have time for them, but still love it. Would still listen to it. I might put that on afterwards, actually. And now we reach the pinnacle. We reach track. I keep saying track. And now we've reached my top Iron Maiden album. And at this point, if you've gathered it, you could probably figure it out. It is, of course, the one, the only, number 1. It's the first album. It has to be the first album because the first album is what they are. The first album is pure brilliance, and I'll tell you why. This is the album that I forced myself to listen to. But I didn't force because it was hard. I just had it on and on all the time, over and over and over again. This is obviously a remastered version. Once you look at the cover, my mother she still has it, has the old original one. So the cover looks like that. Okay, so I played that over and over and over and over again. We played it over and over again. She has it on vinyl, released in 1980. We played it over and over again. So that's the album I became obsessed with. I had a high school band, and I basically forced them to learn Phantom of the Opera because that's my favorite Iron Maiden track of all time. Phantom of the Opera comes off the first album. 7 minutes of pure gold. That song, and it's just such a fun album. When I play this, I get thrown back in time. I feel like it's 2009 again, because that's when I first heard it in its entirety. I was just like, yes, this is what it's about. Prowler, Phantom, Transylvania, the instrumental, absolutely fantastic. Charlotte the Harlot's a great song. And it's got the classic Iron Maiden song, the song that they end every show with. They did that back in 1977, and they still do it today in 2019. It's absolutely brilliant. My top Iron Maiden album is Iron Maiden. There's no doubt about it. Anyone who says otherwise seriously needs to give this like an actual listen. Not like a listen of, you need to stop doing anything. You need to just listen to this and just stop doing everything else. Top 1, Iron Maiden. Sweet as, guys, that's my top 5 Iron Maiden albums. A nice quick video for you. I hope you had fun. Leave down below what your favorites are, or why you think my favorites aren't that good, you know. Tell me why you don't like X Factor. Tell me why you don't like Dance of Death, because I know a lot of people have ifs about them. You're lucky I didn't put Virtual 11 on this album, because on this list, because that album's gold, purely for the Klansman. But that's a whole nother video. I'll start rambling again. Alright guys, have an awesome day, and I'll hit you back again soon with probably another top 5 of something else. See ya!